Hey everyone, welcome to this kind of interesting video. I'm going to spend a few videos talking about how to get organized. A lot of people ask me, how do you manage doing a PhD, which is my full-time job, 9 to 5 job, bug bounties and YouTube and not die of stress. And it's because I have to be very organized to do it. Like, it takes a lot out of my brain to get this organized and to make sure that, videos get released every week and my PhD gets done and everything else. So I want to spend a few videos talking about how to get organized. And this actually ended up as one video. It was an hour long. We're not doing the hour-long video. I'm going to split it up into 3 videos. This week, we're going to be talking about making a to-do list. In the future videos, we're going to be talking about how to manage your time. And then finally, how to manage your notes. So once you've taken notes, how do you actually make them usable for what you need them to do? But yeah, today we're talking about making to-do lists. And once again, this video is very kindly sponsored by Integrity. Integrity is a bug bounty platform like HackerOne and BugCrowd. It's smaller and focuses on European customers. They're huge supporters of the bug bounty community. So they don't just support my channel, they support other people's videos, other people's channels. And I'm really happy to work with them. I know a lot of people have already signed up and are probably sick of hearing about Integrity. And I just want to shout out to everybody who's found their first bug, who is finding bugs. Not everyone is getting bounties, but a lot of people have found bugs on the Red Bull program. And that's really exciting for everybody, I think. Or they're participating in the XSS challenges. Even on my Discord, we get people talking about the XSS challenges they do. And I'm really happy for everyone who signs up. If you want to sign up too, you can use my link on screen or in the video description. That's go.integrity.com/Katie. Go.integrity.com/Katie. I don't get cut your bounties or anything, don't worry. But it's in the video description. It's on screen now. Go ahead. Right. My joke. So, whenever I get told to do talks and I introduce myself, I go, my name is Katie, I'm a PhD student, part-time educational YouTuber, and occasional bug bounty hunter, and I'm still waiting for my Nobel Prize for more hours in the day. It's a very funny joke, and eventually I'm going to have to figure out a new joke. But it's kind of true. I do manage quite a lot. YouTube ends up being a part-time job for me, and it takes a lot of hours in my week to manage YouTube. But I've still got to do my PhD, and I still want to do bug bounty hunting. It's a big hobby of mine. I really enjoy it. But to do all of this at once, it takes a lot of organization and time management. So how do I make more hours in the day? Well, if you didn't want to listen to this video about me talking about it specifically, here's what I do. I implement getting things done, deep and shallow work, a Pomodoro tracker, time tracking and time blocking, and I specifically use Omnifocus toggle and a bullet journal. If you don't want to watch these videos, that is the important part. But with that in mind, I have a really crazy productivity system. I do a lot to try and make sure I am making content and every week. And I put a lot on myself to try and make that happen. So you probably don't need to implement all my solutions. You also probably don't run a YouTube channel and probably aren't doing a PhD. So I hope that, you shouldn't implement my systems and what I talk about, but maybe something will resonate with you. I have to be hyper organized to manage my life, but you maybe just need a better to-do list. Maybe you just need to figure out a good way of managing all the targets you're working on. Maybe you just need a way of organizing your notes. You really don't need to implement everything I talk about here into your own system. And I recommend not doing that in general. With that in mind, let's talk about figuring out what to do and how to make good to-do lists that work. So to-do lists are really important because our brain loves rewards when we do things. So whenever we complete a task and we tick it off, our brain gets flooded with endorphins. We feel really good about that. And it's really important to reward our brain when we're doing that and not when we're doing something like, say, for example, playing games. Which was really my problem, is that I just basically didn't really feel very motivated to do anything apart from play video games. And talk online, and then I wouldn't actually have anything done. But that was really in my first and second year of university. I've gotten better now. So yeah, to-do lists are really good at giving you an endorphin rush and telling your brain you did a good thing. So it's really important to make ones that work and to keep that motivation going. So a lot of people have this kind of problem, which is that you don't know what to do, so you don't do anything, and you end up procrastinating. like the first step in being more productive, like if you'll take nothing else from this video, I want you to take away this, that you need to know what needs to be done next. You need to be able to get your success in doing one thing and roll it into the next and go, okay, I've now done this, I could do that as well. And really make sure you're keeping those like endorphins going and creating like those actionable tasks, like tasks that have an end date and that have a completion goal. And one of the reasons why people procrastinate in general is because the next step isn't clear or isn't actionable. Like, you either don't know what to do, or if you do know what to do, it just doesn't make sense. So you end up in this cycle of procrastination where you feel guilty, you panic, you make excuses, you procrastinate more, and you never get anything done. So with that in mind, there's a book called Getting Things Done. Very famous book by David Allen. Very boring. Don't read it. It's a business book designed for business people, and it's painfully obvious because it's difficult to read and take the guy seriously. But if you flip through it, there's got some really good advice there. And specifically, he says that stress is caused really when you have to keep everything in your brain at once. Like, you've got to remember your regular like life stuff. So you have to remember to eat food and to cook and to go shopping and to what have you. And then you have your work tasks. You have to remember to do that, go to that meeting, do that thing. And then you've got your bug bounty on top of that as a hobby going, you want to look at that target, you want to read that write-up. And if you put all that in your brain, you just can't think. And you really need to be able to offload your brain and to get it literally anywhere else but you actively thinking about it and knowing it's in a safe space so you can come back to it. You know, come back tomorrow and you can see that write-up you were looking at. Come back tomorrow and when you're in the shop, you'll go pick up some milk, right? So this is his system. So we start off at the top here. Let me get my little laser pointer. So we start off at the top with just stuff. So that is everything. That's everything from little tasks people tell you to do to random thoughts you have. Is it actionable? So let's say you're hunting on a program and you found a potential XSS location, but you've got a WAF problem. So is that actionable? Well, if you bypass the WAF, it's actionable, right? Like, your action isn't, it's a endpoint to look at. Your action is, can I bypass the WAF? So it is actionable. What's the next action? Well, you might try multiple different techniques. You might try multiple different tips you read on Twitter. And then for that, then he recommends having a project. And then for each action, you then go, is that actionable? Defining those even more. If it's one thing, let's say you want to try one specific technique. If it's less than 2 minutes, you just do it. You don't make excuses. You do not procrastinate. You just do it. You don't make, like, literally, it will take 2 minutes. It's fine. If it is, you can also delegate it if it's more than 2 minutes. So you can delegate it to somebody else. If you're collaborating with somebody, maybe you say, hey, can you check out this endpoint? I think it's vulnerable, but I can't get the WAF bypass to work. Or you can defer it to a later date. You know, you can maybe read a write-up and go, okay, I'll try that tomorrow, or I can try that another day. And this is what you kind of do. You kind of make this flow chart, and then everything goes through this flow chart of stuff. Where does it fit? What bucket does it fit in? And where should I put it? So how to implement getting things done, and specifically how I implement it. I use a program called Omnifocus. It's for Mac only. And each major part of my life has a folder associated with it: personal, PhD, YouTube, bug bounty, what have you. And each folder has projects. So each video is a project, each target I'm working on is a project. Each project has a list of actions, there's stuff I need to do, and it has a due by date, a important flag, whether or not it's really urgent, and some kind of software context. Now, I use software context because when I've opened Photoshop, I rather do like 10 thumbnails at once, get them all sorted, than deal with like multiple ones. But for some, it doesn't really make sense. Like for Burp, I only really work on one target at once. But for YouTube stuff, I'm often doing multiple videos at once. Like multiple videos are in different parts of the pipeline. So this is an example here. You can see the context of these kind of tags. We have an important flag. We have a due date. We have these are the tasks. We can cross those off. And then we have a folder, and then we have projects inside. And there are different types of projects in Omnifocus. So this is my actual to-do list. So we can first see, let me just change it to a pen. We have work, which I've collapsed. Same with talks, because there are upcoming stuff that I work I don't really want to talk about, and talks I don't really want to spoil. So that's sort of the upcoming stuff in those two. It's the same kind of setup. So we have personal. The personal to-do list is like random stuff I've got to do. You get like, buy this, do that, do this. And that goes for everything in my life. I need to buy something off Amazon, it goes in that one. We then have YouTube. So that is my YouTube channel. And we have videos in there. So there's a lot of other things that go into running a YouTube channel that aren't just making videos. So if I wanted to have like a separate list for live streams, for example, that's where that would go. And again, we have these kind of actions here that are, these are my little projects. So here you can see my upcoming videos, GraphQL, API tools, 5 investments, which was actually released and shouldn't be on that list, Postman, auth issues, community versus professional. So these are the upcoming videos. And then in one of these, I've selected GraphQL here. I have like all of the tasks that need to get done. So I've got to create a demo API. I've got to find relevant examples. I've got to finish the slides, find specific bugs, and just talk about those. I don't have any tags associated with this because I probably did this quite quickly just to get all the ideas out of my brain onto the paper. Very important part. Ideas should not be in your head. They should be on a piece of paper somewhere where you can collect them later. And here you can see I've got due dates, and this is red, so it's overdue, but I changed the release date, so that's fine. And again, we've got all the tasks, all the projects. We also have these ones over here. So these are, and I'll talk about this in a second, these are called, what are they called? Perspectives, I think they're called, where you can basically sort your own. So you sort projects, you can sort due soon, you can sort tags, you can have your flagged items, what have you. So that is my to-do list. Now, any organizational system you implement, if it's getting things done or something else, has to work for you, not against you. It's really important to make sure any system is flexible. You don't need to follow the rules. If you find your brain works better with random scraps of paper will have to do, and you'll just have to figure out a way to make them searchable. If that's what's working for you, don't change it, right? Don't try and make changes that won't benefit you in the long run. And then with that, it's really making time to reflect. So having a portion of your like end of the week on a Sunday going, okay, I want to do this, I need to do that. Actually, that wasn't working very well, and I didn't really complete that task because it wasn't really clear. Having that reflection process of what's working for you, as in what tasks are working for you, are they still relevant? But also, how is the system working for you? Do you need to make any changes? What changes do you need to make? And if something isn't working for you, just don't do it. Like, it's not worth going through the stress that something's not working when, you could just go, no, I don't want to do it. So here's my example is delegation. Delegating work is a really important part of the getting things done method. I don't really work collaboratively with other hackers. I don't work collaboratively with my videos either. I rarely delegate what I've got to do. So for me, delegation just doesn't really exist in my system. I end up doing most of the tasks. And, you could say, well, that's not very efficient of you. You should get somebody else to help you. But it's just not the way my brain works. So for me, I just don't ever delegate. I just defer them. I don't have to delegate anything. So the downsides of getting things done, it's really easy to get overwhelmed. So this is my kind of, you can see here, this is my list of stuff I need to do. And this one here is another list of stuff that I can't show you because it's either work related or it's personal or it's bug bounty related. And this can be really overwhelming, like to see 30 different things, like, oh my God, everything's past due. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing next. So what's really important is to try and organize things as much as possible. Have projects, have tags. And for me, one thing I really like is focus mode. So focus lets you look at a specific project. So I can focus on GraphQL. And then the flagged things here only show my GraphQL ones. They don't show anything outside of that. So my inbox, my projects, everything is just focused on GraphQL. I don't need to see the rest of it. And that really helps me to stop getting overwhelmed by everything. and to really focus on, okay, I need to get my GraphQL video done. What's the most important thing? What's due first? Have I got anything associated with it in like other places? And that really helps a lot. So getting things done can be quite overwhelming, and I'll talk about alternatives in a sec. So Omnifocus is what I use, and it's a very expensive piece of software for what it does, which is a to-do list. And I'm not really sure I still like it, but I'm way too far invested. I bought it in my first year of my PhD, bought it like 3 years ago now, and it was a poor investment. You don't have to use it. In fact, there's a lot of free options to do something like this. You can use a notebook, you can use sticky notes, you can use technical solutions. In fact, most to-do list apps will work fine for getting things done, because the main part of getting things done is the idea of having a kind of strict method to follow. So you're not going like, oh, I've got this to, I've got this to, I've got this to. You've got, okay, I've got this in this project, I have this, and it's due then. And it's really getting that part clear. So here's an example of getting things done on paper. Here, this person has little tabs for their projects. Here we can see they're highlighted to show they're flagged and important. Here we can see their due date. We can also see, contexts up here, and more projects down here. So you can implement it like this on a piece of paper. You don't even need to do a technical solution. And in fact, if you don't need, say, tags, right, for your project, because you just don't need it, you just need a to-do list, the paper works great. You really don't need to invest in anything. ToDoist, which is a free to-do list app. Here is my example. We've got our labels, which are our contexts. We have our projects, which will be our targets. And then we have all of our little actions. And then when we're done, we just cross it off. Now, they have a free version and they have a paid version. The paid version gives you reminders on your phone. So you're better off getting the free version, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can do it on Notion. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail because there are so many templates for getting things done on Notion, if that's what you want to do. But okay, what if you don't want to use getting things done? This is just how I think about tasks. There are so many other ways to do it. So I'm going to go over some other options here. The first one is like these two list examples. So this is getting shit done. Very simple. You create a master list and you create a backlog, and you basically work off of the master list and move stuff into the backlog when you need to. If you don't work on complex projects, you only work on one target at once. Maybe you are like more advanced. You not really, when you do write-ups, you already have a kind of system. This might work great to just having stuff to do, stuff that's not done, and then tick things off as you go. I really do recommend this if you think about my one and go, that's not for me. That's wild. That's way too much. That's so overwhelming. This is a better option. So many other systems use this approach. I'm going to leave tons of links below that you can check out for more stuff on different methods. You can also use a Kanban board. So this is also sometimes like an issue tracker can be used. Very simple. You have these kind of 4 or 6 columns, however many columns you want, and you have your to-do list. Then you have what you're working on, what you need to validate, what you need to write up, and then what's complete. So you can visually see where like bugs are in the process. So let's say you found an endpoint and you go, okay, that needs to be tested for an IDOR. Or maybe you just find an endpoint, right? And you then have different columns, like, is that an IDOR? Yes. Is it an unauthenticated IDOR? No. And you take it through, like, you go one at a time. And then you have validation. So is it actually an IDOR? And then you can mark it as complete. So these are custom. You can do whatever you want. Whatever columns you want, it's fine. What's great about this is that it's that visual progress. It does not work for me at all. Should say, this does not work for me. But having that visual, like what's in progress, what's kind of stuck, is really helpful. And most software engineers will probably find that this works quite well for them with the way they think about bug hunting. Then we've got Autofocus, which is the most simple way to get a to-do list. You make a big list of everything you want to do, and then just do what you feel like doing. Like, look at the list, what stands out to you, work on that for as long as you feel like it. And then when you stop feeling like it, you're getting bored, put it back on the list, and then go for the next one, and just go on until it's finished. Capturing tasks is really important for this and making sure that they're tasks you can complete. But you can also just brain dump. You don't really have to do anything specific. It's very, very flexible. If you work on paper a lot and you find paper really works for you, this is something you should check out. But you know what? Actually, general to-do lists are fine for this. And I should say, when you start to use to-do lists, it's really normal for you to feel overwhelmed and like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening. I'm so confused. But that's fine. That's totally normal. It's like the most normal thing on the planet. Especially if you're not used to writing them. But it's really important to write something down and not leave it in your brain. If you leave it in your brain, you're likely to forget things. You may not forget due dates. You might feel overwhelmed, especially when we do something like hacking when it's hard, right? And really what we want to do is we want to focus on actionable items. If you research XSS, that's so vague. What does that mean? When is that complete? When is that going to give you that endorphin rush? But instead we go, okay, read the write-ups, read this specific write-up. So if you want to make a general to-do list, general advice. I want to say thank you again to Integrity for sponsoring my content. I really appreciate them. I don't take having an advertiser like me on my channel. They really do amazing things for the community. And for me, it's made me allow me to make so many investments in my channel. Like, you have no idea. I'm able to edit videos. I'm able to have a microphone. I'm able to do so much more with my videos and actually spend more time working on them and making sure they're really high quality than I would not otherwise normally be able to. They really do interact with the community a lot. They're so great. Please do give them a lot of love from us. You can sign up with my link that's on screen, go.integrity.com/Katie. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I'm now going to read out the my Patreons who are supporting my content directly. It's great to have an advertiser, but it's great to know that people want to see my content so much that they will pay me directly. And it's amazing to get that financial support. Don't forget, if you can't really afford that financial support, you can sign up to my Discord. Active members get exactly the same benefits as patrons do. It's completely exactly the same. No problem. So I want to thank specifically Penny, MechaInfoSec, Wardell Castles, Strongbeard, Gynvael, Ram, and James Clee. Thank you very much to those people who have signed up. It's amazing. It's incredible. I am so thankful for your support. It means so much to me. So thank you very much, everybody. I will see you in the next video. And hopefully we're going to be talking about either, I'm not sure yet, business logic errors and how to find them and a methodology for finding them. And maybe GraphQL. We'll see how I do on my to-do list this week. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.